So without further delay, let us proceed to the final topic of project delay analysis, right? Okay, for this topic, we are going to cover on delay analysis. Again, this is our final quick check. Okay, just now we have settled or we have completed this topic of project monitoring controlling, and this is the final topic. And for the assessment, the total marks for my parts, again, I would like to remind, the 100% was divided into two parts, for my part and also for Mr. Rahim part, so that all of you will already aware regarding this. Okay, so I think no need for me to further explain because previously we already discussed in detail for the individual assignment and also test 2, right? Okay, so this is several outlines or subtopics for this final topic of project delay analysis. We are going to look at an overview of project delay and then proceed with the types of project delay. And we also need to know the introduction or the brief overview for project delay analysis itself. And then for sure, there are approaches and also methods of delay analysis, okay, that we are going to cover, right? Okay, so for the first subtopic of overview of project delay, so we are going to briefly look at on the basic definition, right? So in terms of the definition of delay itself, it's as the name mentioned, delay itself refers to the time lag. Okay, delay or lag is just the same, what we call the same thing. Okay, most of the time delay is basically represent a bad or what we call negative perception. Okay, because it is delayed. Okay, so in detail, delay refers to time lag in completion of activities from specified time as per contract. So meaning that there is some division, there is some lag between the specified time with the actual one, right? So that's actually the delay refers to. And it also refers to the late completion or late start of activities to the baseline schedule. So any progress of work which have this late completion or late start, for sure at the end it will cause the delay. Okay, delay of the project progress. Okay, it's the definition of delay. And then there are basically several factors. Okay, several factors or items that affect the delay. Okay, that cause the delay. Okay, here I have summarized into 5 main category or components according to the individual person in charge. Okay, individual party. Okay, and I'm sure that if you refer to the other reference, if you refer to, for example, referenceable journals or articles, you may also find any other related factors for the delay, because delay itself is quite a big concern or big issue in construction industry, in construction management. So in terms of the research itself, there are so many studies have been or being conducted, okay, by the researchers in improving or in what we call in proposing the most what we call appropriate method in dealing with the delay itself, right? Since delay will affect the project, so we need to properly manage the project. At the end, we can avoid or reduce the delay issues, right? Okay, back again for the factors of delay. Okay, for the first category, it's related to either engineer or architect. So any poor design or incomplete design by the architect for the architectural design, and from the engineer for the structural design. So this poor or incomplete design for sure will cause the delay. Okay, because any construction or any activities, buildings, for example, that we are going to construct will be based on specific design. So if we don't have any design, okay, for us to request to, so how can we proceed with the project? Okay, so that's why that will be that will be the main part of the main factors of the delay. So poor design meaning that the contractor can really we can really translate the design to the actual. So supposed to be the design itself should be sufficient, should be good for the contractor parties to proceed with the construction activities, right? And then in terms of the slow response time, it's related to the what we call, if we have any some deviation or any some uh, the difference, okay, in terms of changes of the design, so it should have a fast response time so that the rest of the party will be able to proceed with the work. Okay, so that's why this is the first factor of the delay by this engineer or architect. Okay, apart from that, we also have delay caused by the client or the owner, project owner itself. Okay, sometimes in certain cases, certain situation, when there is excessive changes of the as required, as requested by the clients themselves. So this for sure will affect the progress of work, okay? Because the contractor need to proceed with the work, to construct the work, and the client or the owner keep on request for the changes of the design, okay? They request for additional things that they are uh, what we call they are focused, okay, they are what they want, okay, they keep on asking for the changes. So excessive changes will for sure affect the progress of work, and in the end it will cause delay. Okay, and the other sub factor related to the owner of client is relates to the delayed approvals of permit. Okay, so any approval required by the contractor side, okay, which need approval from the client. So that one should not be have delayed, should be on time so that on the progress on the works can be well progressed. Okay, and then prolonged planning and also delayed payment. It's one for the especially for the progress payment. Okay, so progress payment itself should be paid on time so that the client can progress with the work, can continue the work, right? So any delayed payment will affect will be a contributing factors for the total delay, right? Okay, that the second category. Okay, then we have factors of delay due to the project manager itself, meaning that in terms of the management of the project. Okay, some of the common factors due to the project managers related to the poor planning and scheduling. So that's why we need to have a proper planning or scheduling for the project so that we can have a better what we call schedule of the project, and also can use it as the main reference for the project progress. Okay, poor contract management will be another issue or will be another factors or reasons for delays, and in terms of the issues of coordination. So lack of coordination, poor coordination we call in terms of the planning, in terms of the managing the staff, okay, managing the resources, will also lead to the issues, okay, unachievable schedule. So by planning, okay, by preparing the plan, by preparing the schedule, the project manager or the planner themselves need to make sure that the schedule is achievable. Okay, it must be logic according to the what resource they have. Okay, is it sufficient for the labor or for the plant or machineries available to construct the works. Okay, and then poor data management also will be a big factors, okay, that hinder the project to be well progressed, and at the end it will cause delay. Okay, so that's why again back to the management itself, we need to properly manage the data, we need to manage the required information properly. Okay, uh, it's all about the management. Either manage the data, manage the information, and most important thing is that we need to have proper management of resources. Okay, that's why for this subject we are what we call we are covering we have to look on how we want to plan the cost, on how we want to forecast, we want to what we call manage the resources. So all of these are interrelated, okay, as the key activities that should need to be practiced by the project manager. Okay, and then the other factors of delay related to contractor is about the unachievable bid. Okay, at the early stage, once the contract team enter for the tender, they need to have we call an amount, okay, proposed amount for the project, which is should be an achievable bid. Okay, meaning that according to the bid, it should be matched with their capability to deliver the project, right? And then poor productivity or performance also will be another factor of delay. Okay, so this one need to properly managed and also properly concerned or considered by the contractor, so that they have they are able to deliver a good productivity of work, okay, with the optimum productivity rate, right? Mismanagement of resources, okay, this one we relate back to this one, okay, just the same. Shortage of labor or material, this one also related, since all of these are resources of the project. Okay. All right. So apart from these factors which related to each of the parties for the project, we may have another several affecting factors for the delay itself. For example, the weather condition. We have a bad weather condition which will affect the progress of work. For example, it's rain season or flooding. So that one will be another factors that may cause the delay of work. For example, what we call the pandemic itself, okay, COVID-19, also the other main factors that cause the delay of the work, right? As we can see, so many construction projects in our construction industry have been affected by the pandemic itself. Okay, so it will be another factor or other factors of the delay. And unstable changing of market condition, okay, will be a potential factors for the delay, okay, and the rest. Okay, force majeure also related to the nature condition, okay, for the delay factors, right? All right, so I think that's all for the factors of delay. This is just a quite straightforward actually. So for your additional information, you may do your own reading. Okay? You may refer to related journals or articles to compile more information on this. right? And then similar for effects of the delay, there are actually so many effects or sub-effects. Okay, this sixth category is part of the main effects of the delay. Okay, for sure we have time overrun. Okay, because the delay directly affect the physical progress and also financial progress because the cost overrun. And then in terms of the laws and regulation, it will cause this adaptation, litigation, and most of the time, the severe delay issue will cause abandonment of the project. Okay, so I think this one you may do your own reading for this since this is just straightforward. Okay, uh, the next one we are going to get on types of project unit. Okay, so in overall we have these four main category of main types of project delay, which includes excusable, non-excusable, compensable, and also non-compensable. These four are the main type of project delay. Okay, so for the purpose of our project, for the purpose of our subject, we are going to look at each of these delay type, right? So before that, we need to know the assessment of the delay types, right? So the first one, starting from the assessment of is the delay excusable. If it is yes, then we need to further assess whether is the delay compensable. Okay, compensable. Then we need to do further assessment by further assess the delay, right? Okay, so this is just a basic assessment of the delay type. How we want to assess the delay. Okay. Okay, for the first type, excusable delay. This one, the first one. Excusable delay refers to that situation where contractor will have relief from damages. With that, especially the EOT, extension of time, EOT. This basically the quite common term EOT when we are talking about delay. Okay, and potential financial entitlement depending on contractual circumstances, right? So most of the time, excusable delay meaning that the contractor themselves will be excused for these damages. Okay, either in terms of EOT or financial cost of the project that they need to bear. Because excusable delay mostly caused by the client or project owner, which prolongs plan completion. Okay, so the main party that cause this delay is from the client or project owner themselves. Okay, sometimes it may also due to third party or act of God, which is the force majeure. Meaning that force majeure is any act or any situation that is out of our control. Okay, for example, the pandemic situation, right? That's the first type of project delay. And then for the second one, we have this non-excusable delay. Non-excusable delay just contrary or the other what we call type or vice versa for the first one. Okay. This second type is mainly caused by the contractor, which could have been prevented. Okay. A result of breach of contract or contractor negligence, for example, actions of domestic subcontractors. So all of these most of the time caused by the contractor. When for this one, contractor is not entitled either time extension or monetary compensate from the client. Okay, this is just in contrast with the first one, first type of project delay. Okay, so they may pay liquidated damages according to the contract. Okay, so the first one is quite favorable for the contractor, which is not the same for this one, for the second types. Okay, So there will be no excuse for this delay by the contractor. Okay, the third one, we have compensable delay. Compensable delay meaning that contractor is entitled to financial recovery in the form of direct and indirect time-related costs arising from the client. Okay, a period of time during which a critical delay event is experienced, which is caused by the client. Okay, so it can be compensated and expressly identified as being recoverable under the contract terms and conditions. So for this type of delay, the contractor are entitled for the financial recovery for the third type. Okay, for the last one, the last type of well, this one types still on types of project delay. Contractor is not entitled to any compensation. Okay. Which is in contrast for the third one. And a period of time which critical delay is experienced, which is caused by the contractor. This one caused by the client. Okay, that's why they can be compensated and not expressly identified as being recoverable under the contract. Okay, that's the types of project delay, right? So up until now, we have covered on the overview of the delay, project delay, and also types of project delay. And then the next one, we are going to look at on the delay analysis itself, right? So what's actually the delay analysis? Okay. Before I proceed, is everything okay? So far, can you understand this? Right? Okay, so hopefully all of you can have good understanding of this, all of this topic, right? Okay, so let me continue. So what is actually delay analysis? It is an analysis to establish entitlement, possession, and damages. So it's more on the purpose of why we need to conduct the delay analysis, because we need to investigate, we need to analyze which party entitled for the compensation, which party caused the delay. Okay, we try to investigate back the cause, the sources of the delay. Okay, at the end, it's related to the compensation, related to the entitlement, especially for extension of time. Okay, so it may be established both from the perspective of assessing the impact of the delays and seeking compensation. So we need to know the impacts of the delay or the effects of the delay. Either affects the whole works in major or in minor condition, and we are seeking for the compensation to recover. Okay, and most of the time, delay analysis will be focusing more on critical activities, since it will affect the whole duration of project completion. Again, if we refer back to the critical activities, because up until now, I'm sure that all of you already know what's actually critical activities refers to. So that's why we need to properly manage these critical activities. We need to focus more on these activities, since it will represent the whole duration of the completion. Okay, so that's why we need the analysis, which focusing more on the critical activities. Right. So continue to this. We have this bar chart or the work schedule here. So what were the critical activities ideally at every point in time? Okay, for example, incident or effect of the delay. So we can identify which we need to identify which activities are actually the critical one, so that it's very helpful for us to have proper delay analysis. Okay? And then we need to know the extent of delay, how incremental was incurred. Okay, so we can have a good view for the delay condition for each of these activities, right? For example, here the green color one will be the plan or schedule for the activity, the first activity of design, and then we have procurement, and we have construction stage. Okay, procurement and construction, and we can see we can analyze the delay. Okay, this red color red color bar represent the actual progress. Okay, so we can see here what's actually the extent of the delay. Okay, and then at the end we need to know the process of delay, okay, for each of the activities. Okay, what's actually the main process? Okay, either due to the design changes, due to the custom issues, or any other issues. Okay, as we have covered just now. Okay, the factors of the delay, okay, the process of the delay. Okay, we need to identify the process of the delay, right? Okay, so this is the visualization of on how we can conduct the delay analysis, right? To know which activity are critical and how is the extent of the delay. And at the end, we need to know the process of the delay, right? Okay, this is related to the critical path and delay analysis. Again, as I mentioned, we need to focusing more on the critical activities because as we know, critical path is the longest path that logically connects the start date to the end date of the project. So critical path represents the total duration of the project. So that's why it's directly related or essentially which is very vital to be considered in the analysis. Okay, and again, the path is the only path that has no flow, right? Which will cause delay to the ended if the project delay. So any delay for this critical path for sure will affect the total duration of the project. So that's why that's the relation between critical path and also delay analysis. Okay, only critical path activities can delay the project at certain time. Okay, that's the same as I mentioned previously. Then that's why determining the critical path is very crucial and essential for conducting delay analysis. Okay, that's the relation. All right. Okay, so the next one we are going to look at on these approaches of delay analysis. Okay, so basically, it can be divided into type. Okay, approach category. The first one we are looking backward. Backward or we can call it as retrospective analysis. Okay, this one. And the other one just we are looking forward. Okay, focusing forward, which is called as prospective analysis. So we basically have two different analysis category or approaches, right? So for each of these approach or analysis, we have this type for the delay analysis. Okay, for the first approach or category, we have as planned versus as built, and we have collapse, but for as built. Okay, so in total we have this follow 1, 2, and the other 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we are going to look at in brief each of these approaches of the delay with its type or methods, right? Okay, so for the first method is one as planned versus as built. Okay, for the retrospective, it is one retrospective analysis RA. RA, we have the first one. In overall, this is the most basic method for the delay analysis. Okay, it's more on the observational method where no changes on the schedule. Okay, the project manager or the project planner need to observe the planned schedule and also the build schedule, right? So it is a straightforward comparison of plan and actual work progress. Okay. For this method, it requires as-built program or at least overall as-built completion date. Okay, this is the main document required for this type of method. So this is the most basic method, okay, for the data analysis. All right. So in terms of its advantages and disadvantages, okay, in terms of the pros or advantages for this method, it is very simple, basic method, easy to understand. Okay, since we just straightforward compare the actual with the plan progress, and the other thing is that it requires list document. Okay, as I mentioned here, requires as-built program at least, okay, or list overall as-built, okay, which can be performed without detailed progress report. Okay, that's the main advantages for this first method. However, it still has its own disadvantages. It will, especially in terms of static critical path. Okay, meaning that it usually is suitable to be used for static critical path and does not deal adequately with concurrently. Okay, so for a simple project, okay, for smaller project, I think this method is suitable. However, it's not really suitable to be used for larger or complex project. Okay, because this method unable to demonstrate the causal link between delay and its effect. Okay, so it is just a simple comparison. Okay, so now we are going to look at on the steps to analyze the delay using this method. Okay, so in order for us to analyze the delay using as-planned versus as-built method, we need to begin with comparing both as-planned and as-built schedule. Okay, so we need to calculate the difference of the duration between both schedule. Okay, for example, this is the schedule of the budget that can be used for the purpose of our example. Okay, we need to refer to the next slide, slide 20. Okay, as refers here, we have this duration. Baseline duration is 112 days, and the actual one 168 days. So for the calculation, we just do the deduction here. So obviously, this is the delay duration for this project. Okay, just do the deduction here, comparing the as-built and as-planned duration. Okay, so as-built, just the actual one, 168. Okay, and then we have this baseline of as-planned, 112 days. Right? So just do the direct comparison. Okay, that's all for the first method, and then we have the second one for the RA, retrospective analysis. Okay, still for the first category. So for the second one, it relies on the detailed reconstruction of the as-built program. Okay, this second method can be used to demonstrate the effect of the delay on the completed part of an incomplete project. Okay, so as compared to the previous one, this method can be used to demonstrate the effect of the delay. Okay, because the first one is the most basic one, the most simple or simplest method as compared to this one. And this collapse but for as built is proven to be reliable in dispute resolution or claims, okay? Especially for the compensation process, because it is able to demonstrate the effect and cost of the input, right? So again, this is the advantages and disadvantages of this second method under retrospective approach. Okay, so in terms of the pros of this method, it will provide good accuracy with greater strength, with fact based on the SPIL, and it's not dependent or reliant upon the SPIL program. However, in terms of the disadvantages, there will be no allowance for delay mitigation, complicated method, okay, as compared to previous one, difficult to establish a dynamic as-built schedule, and the other thing is that it requires detailed as-built as-built or progress report. Okay, in terms of the documentation, in terms of the reference, it will be more complex as compared to the first method. So this is the how we want to conduct the delay analysis using this method. Okay, so in terms of the steps to analyze, we will begin with as-built schedule for both owner and contractor delays, and then we need to remove owner contractor cost delays, and last one we need to calculate the delay for both parties, right? So this one we will refer to still on the first one, first example, this one 168 for the as-built duration. Okay, so this one as-built duration, collapse as-built, okay, as-built slide 20 for this one. This one 168, and then we have the collapse one 147 days. 147. So we need to do the what we call, we do the deduction here. So this basically total delay duration 21 days for the owners, right? And if we do the other calculation by taking this 147 minus with the S-plan duration, it's like okay, this one 147 actually. Okay. 112 refer to the previous S-plan duration. So we have this 35 days for contractors. Okay, so in terms of the calculation, in terms of the document that we need or require for this method is more detailed as compared to the first one. Okay, however, we can calculate both delays delays for the owners itself and then for the contractor side, right? Okay, so this is the calculation for the reference for the previous one. Okay, as-built with delay, column as-built without for owner delays. Okay, that's for the second method. And then we are going to get the third one for the first method of just now we have retrospective and prospective method. Check in, we have this one, retrospective, and we have prospective. So just now we have done this 1 and 2, and then this one we are going to look at on impacted as planned, right? Impacted as planned for the prospective method or approach. Okay, so it's basically relates to the prospective methodology where the delay effect is measured by imposing events of an original program. So they need to measure by imposed events of an original baseline which do not rely on actual progress that has been made. And for this method, it requires a robust and reliable original program that reflect the sequence and scope of work. Okay, so for this method, it also requires a good, reliable original work program, which reflect the sequence and scope of work. Okay, that's the document that we did for this method. In terms of its advantages and disadvantages again, this impacted as planned is quite simple and easy and allow for delimitation. And it's likely choice when as planned is available, the changes of sequence during the execution, few delay events, and little or no progress record. Okay, that's the advantages for this method. However, this method is not suitable for complex project. Okay, it's more suitable for simple or smaller project. Because it quantify potential rather than actual delays. Okay, assume that the baseline was achievable and not suitable for dispute resolution. That's the disadvantages for this method. And again, this is the steps to analyze the delay by using impacted as planned method. Okay, we need to begin with as planned schedule, and we need to add on the delays, calculate the delay for both parties. Okay, so here we consider the order delays. Okay, we need to refer to the as-built duration, which is the same as previous. The duration is 160 days. Okay, as planned on a delay. Okay, this is just example. You can see that this is the delay caused by the owner, right? And it is 164 day. Okay, and then as planned original refer to the previous one, it's like 20. And then we can also for this method also we can calculate the total duration for the owners and contractors. Okay, for the owner, we need to click this one 154 days minus with the as planned original one, and we know the total days by the owners. And then the next one we can calculate for contractors. For contractors, we need to consider the as-built duration minus with the as planned, which is the order delay. So this is the actual delay for the contractors, right? So again, this method can analyze both delay for both parties, contractors and also client, project owner, right? So this is a good program for this calculation. And then the other thing is that we also can, this one, that one we add, previous one we add on the delays. Now using the same method, we add the contract delay. Okay. So just repeat the same steps, okay, but we need to have this as planned on a delay. Go to the next slide, which is step one. Okay, so just a similar similar calculation or step that we need to conduct, right? So based on this method, we can see that total duration contractors is 28 days, and whereby for owners in 28 days. 168 minus by 140. Okay. So then later you can go through each of these method and try to differentiate, right? Okay, this is the work program related to this one, this method. Okay, impacted as planned, which is one type of method fall under prospective approach or analysis, right? Okay, and the fourth one, we will have time impact. Okay, time impact or time windows. Okay. It is also prospective and dynamic methodology, but can be applied retrospectively. Okay. This method requires reliable aspect data, detailed and regular progress data to update the program. So more information, more document required for this method. Okay. It is reliable baseline program. Reliable baseline program is essential for this method to be conducted and often conducted in time slice. Okay, we are using the Windows, right? That it can update the Windows, for example, Microsoft Project Windows to apply this time impact. Okay, so I will show you the example. Okay, before that, this is the advantages and also disadvantages for this one. It's actually a proven track record, most accurate, based on dynamic and changing critical path, which is basically suitable for complex project and demonstrate the process and impact of tooling. However, since it's suitable for complex and large project, for sure it will be time consuming, requires considerable degree of expertise and technical knowledge, okay, to be included in this method to conduct this method. And due to complexity, it's difficult to communicate, and most of the time, since it is very complex, it's very detailed, it will be costly to prepare. Okay. Start to analyze. Basically, we will directly use the the software begin with the as plan schedule, select periods or windows. That's why it's important impact of time windows to analyze, enter actual progress and activities, schedule and repeat the process for the next window or next activities. Okay, so basically this is the visualization of the first window, and there will be updates on the second one. Okay, so that's actually they need to revise or try to analyze the delay using this time impact. Okay. So the first update is compare the original schedule. Okay, they need to compare with the original schedule. Delay in that period are analyzed using bar formatted, okay, as previously mentioned. And the first update based on the original will be the new baseline for the subsequent one. So it will be continuous. Okay. The subsequent one will replace the previous one. Okay. Evaluation of non-excusable, compensable, and non-compensable delays performed at each update. Okay, so meaning that the evaluation is set to the updates of the Windows or the work program. All right. So with that, actually we have covered on the project delay analysis. Okay, in terms of the overview, what's actually delay in terms of the delay analysis, methods, approaches, and so on. So before we end our class, is everything clear? Do you have anything to clarify? Okay. Is it okay, everyone? Is everything good? Okay. So, if you have nothing to ask, nothing to clarify, as for now, I think that's all for my parts. Okay. Basically, the second part for the subject. Right. So, regarding the assessment, I will try to upload the assignment version as soon as possible. And again, I would like to remind that the assignment will be helpful for you for your final exam. Try to understand the calculation because for the final exam there will be mix of theory and also some calculation. We try to understand everything. Okay. Another reminder is that after today we will meet again for our test 2 for we sit for the final exam. Test 2 will be on 8th of February during the same time with our class, okay, on Tuesday at so far at 10 a.m. Okay, the details will be informed later on, okay, throughout the WhatsApp group and also e-learning. Right, so I think that's all so far. As for now, if you don't have any question to ask, anything more to discuss, so we will end our class. We will dismiss as for today. Before that, please scan your attendance, right? Okay. So for those who have scanned the attendance and leave the meeting, okay, hope to see you again for our test 2. Right, that's all from me, and I really appreciate your participation. Assalamualaikum and very good.